G'day, g'day.
Good morning.
What the fuck's up?
Hey, I don't know if you guys got the
Sorry.
memo. You're not allowed to out drip us on our own show.
Yeah, this is brutal right now.
We just got home.
Yeah. From where? It's like 6 a.m. over there, isn't it?
It's
Actually
pretty
9
early.
a.m.
It's 9 a.m., but we
We party harder than 6 a.m. Come on.
I really feel like I've met like the Wario and Waluigi to us.
No, we actually just woke up and checked our phone and saw we had this, and this is what we were wearing last night. So we kept going. Sorry, our headphones keep buzzing. Can
Waluigi.
you hear us still?
That's precisely correct. Yes.
Okay.
God, it's just obnoxious. I even like your microphone's better than ours.
I feel like we
Clown nose,
almost
you
have
like
to
the
pause
clown
the
nose?
interview, and Sam and I have to go grab our own sunglasses.
Yeah. Let's run it back. Yeah, beat us in a week.
Yeah,
Let
let's
me get
go.
my shit together.
Glasses of water and everything.
Yeah, we just got our slaves bringing us glasses of water.
Take your time. Why are you wearing
Ah.
sunglasses?
Because we just woke up. I completely forgot we had to do this, and then I looked at my phone. It's like podcast in 15 minutes. I was like, shit.
Listen,
woke Jake
we
up. I'm like,
we
"Here you
asked
go."
what time worked best. They were like
No,
6
yeah, it's not
p.m.
your fault.
Eastern. Fucking cool. Go with
It's not
it.
your. It's not your fault. It's just when we were saying yes to it, we were already drinking, so we just forgot that we said yes to it.
All right, so
No.
so we're joined with between you and me, but more specifically,
JT.
Hey, Bassy.
Thank you.
I was just like, all right, God, they got this mad intro. What's going to happen? I was just saying our
this
name.
is like a voice check. You know what I mean?
yeah. 1, 2. JT
So,
and
so,
Bassy
so
here.
one more time for the fans here.
Yeah. And today, so we're joined by between you and me, but more specifically,
JT.
And Bassy.
Hey, that was not bad.
We got there.
If we do a third time, we could get it even better.
Let's do it. Let's fuck it. We'll go 5 times.
all right. So new song Nevermind is streaming now when this releases. It's the band's
yeah.
first independent release, and you'll also be supporting Knuckle Puck and Real Friends on their upcoming co-headliner this April.
Delicious times ahead, boys. Delicious
Very
times.
delicious.
We're excited to drop new music finally. Well, it hasn't been that long, to be honest, but
It
we're
feels
keen to get
long.
new stuff
Like
out
a lot
there.
has happened since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even stylistically, it's not, I wouldn't say different, but we're definitely interested to see like the response that we get from Nevermind, because we all fuck with the song.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely what we like doing.
Yeah. Hey, listen. We fuck with it too. It's a good song. I wouldn't even worry
Nah,
about
I
it.
was
Like
go-
I said,
I was
like it's a
gonna- I
good
was gonna-
song. Like what are we even worried about?
We're just trying to be serious for a minute, but we're really still waking up.
Have you ever like done an interview with a band and you had to hype a song that you genuinely hated?
Yeah, this one.
It's funny. It's funny because we had an interview earlier today, and we were like, one of the fans asked, like, what song do they hate the most from like the last 5 years? And I was like, it's such a bizarre question, but I'm actually really curious now. Like, tell me what you don't like about yourself.
Oh, here we go. Let me pull out the list.
Yeah, it's a long list.
anything pre 20, anything pre sophomore,
2020.
anything pre
Stop.
sophomore.
That's just you and every other band. So we had some fan questions for you guys that I wanted to start off with. Animal
Hell
Sun
yeah.
asked, did you enjoy the process of creating music more now that you're independent versus when you may have had any pressure from a label?
Well, there was no pressure from the label, to be honest. It was not really much.
We'll get into it.
I was
We'll
gonna
get
say-
into it.
I was gonna say, I was trying to work our way up to that.
Yeah. But we've only really recorded one song, which is Nevermind, since being independent. So we still, like you said, this interview is a couple of days before release. We still don't even know fully what that looks like, releasing a song as an independent band.
I mean, it has been different though. This is like the first time we've gotten together and like written in a house together. We're writing
Yeah.
a bunch of songs currently, and we just like hired an Airbnb down by the beach. And all the other times it was just when we were living in Melbourne
So I
between
bought our
jobs, we'd
beach
get
shirts.
together.
So you're there
We get to-
now. You're at that house, right?
This explains so
Yeah.
much.
Is it nice? How is it?
It's fucking beautiful.
It's
down here.
awesome. It's
I
very
literally
hard.
I go for a run every morning and swim in the beach every day, and then I just chill on the couch because I'm just waiting for Jake to write lyrics all day. So it's easy for me.
It's so hard being in a pop punk band.
But the vibes are definitely not few and far. It's easy to, you go down to the beach and just clear your head, or, go to the pub or cafe. Life's good down here.
Is that where you find your inspiration? Like that almost feels. Is that like?
But never mind.
We like people watching, so we just make up stories about other people that we're seeing, and as we drink, the stories get more deeper and more involved.
Yeah, it looks like you guys are getting a lot done over there.
Yeah. It's just, it's so strange hearing this perspective, because I feel like 9 out of 10 bands that we talk to, it's like, yeah, I pulled from the deepest, darkest regions of like the last 3 years that I went through. And to come on here and listen to you guys talk about like how we got to Nevermind, which I'm curious, is it intentional that it's the only song you've written so far? Like are you trying to get like you're testing the waters at all with that?
No, just more so like timing wise, that's how it worked out. Like we obviously just come off the back of Armageddon, and we had been like pretty busy touring, and we hadn't had much time to write together. It wasn't really our decision to go, hey, let's do a whole nother record, independent.
Also, we're independent. We don't have the money to record our own whole record. So yeah, I think you're right. We are testing the waters. We are putting one song out and seeing how rich we can get. And if we get really rich, we'll keep going.
I respect the grind, guys. Did Nevermind all come together specifically within the past like couple of months?
We were going into record, and we were going to do another song.
Completely, like the song that we were going to record was like completely different musically, like complete polar opposite basically to Nevermind.
And then
I
was trying to write to that one, I was like struggling, and then Nevermind kind of came at the end of me trying to write to another song. And then I think everyone just
I remember he
said,
it's a done
song.
Voice memo in our Facebook, in our fucking group chat, and we were talking about this other song, and then he put that in there, and it was just like a mumbled the first line of the chorus in like through the chorus, and everyone was just like, yeah, this is the fucking chorus that we need. Well, let's scrap this whole other song and just work on this song.
So literally Nevermind.
Even though we've been spending like a month or two just on this other song trying to figure it out, we just like scrapped it a week before we went into record. And did Nevermind instead.
And hopefully by the time this is out, it's doing pretty well. I'm sure streaming numbers are off the charts.
Is that generally the songwriting process? Is that how you approach it for the most part? Like if something just isn't coming together, do you walk away?
That's what I do.
That kind of has happened before with previous releases as well. Before we did Famous, a similar thing happened. Like we had this other song that no one can remember what it was now, and then like 2 weeks before we wrote Famous.
Oh no! Back when we released Famous, it was going to be Famous or Armageddon.
And then we wrote Armageddon in the same week, and then we were debating whether we release Armageddon as a single or save it for a record. I think we chose right.
So then what the fuck happens to these other songs that like never came together? Like what happens to this most recent one that didn't work out? Do you just like bank it, or do you dump it completely?
No, like they all get revisited, and then like a similar thing happens where, if someone's feeling it, we try and see it out. Or if there's still like just not as much of a vibe there, we see what else is in the stockpile and see, what we can do. It's like
we go back to the used car sales a lot, see what we can polish back. And if we can't polish anything, it just stays dead.
But I think a lot of it is like, right place, right time. Like if we've just been out of something and then we come back and then, look at a song with a fresh pair of ears, sometimes someone will hear something different, or we might still hate it. I don't know. It's different every time.
I'm just realizing you're just literally talking about writer's block, and it took me 20 minutes to get there.
Yeah. I could have just summarized that.
I couldn't.
No. This is on me. We had another fan ask. Macabre and Fun wanted to know, who are you going to collab with next?
Ooh, someone with heaps of monthly listeners.
Smart, very smart, actually.
Bankroll off.
Hey, don't talk about us when we're in the room, boys.
We don't really talk about collabs a lot. We do, like, when we're writing a track, but it's never like a specific person. It's like, we should get someone to sing on this, and then we're just like, yeah.
It's usually too hard, It's like, let's get MGK to sing on this, and then he just never replies to us. So
we've asked a couple.
Are local artists easier? Like you had Michaela from Yours Truly on the last album. Like, did that sort of come together because like friends or
I think
similar
Yeah,
circles
she's a really
or
good
something?
friend, and that was one of the songs she really liked when we were writing it. You know, like so many months before. So she was very keen to jump on that one, and we always did want to do a song with Michaela, but it kind of come together at the last minute.
That was very easy though, because we've been friends for such a long time.
Yeah. But like as far as other artists go, like I think we're down for anything as long as it's cool, even if the genre is a bit out there, a bit weird.
I think we're talking now, like as we're going through the songs that we're currently recording, all the different ideas. Some songs sound a lot different to us of what we normally sound like, and we were discussing like maybe that's a good time to bring in like a feature or a collab, because that might tie it back to like trying something different but still keeping it in the same realm. So it's definitely now that we'll probably think about that more for sure.
Different how?
Different how, like the
sound?
music?
Yeah, like different how? Like what about these songs
So,
makes them different?
Is what we have now is a bit slower.
Can you imagine if like Coldplay and Korn had a baby and it's somewhere in between there is like what we're finding?
So easy for me to visualize.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's just like every day we will write a riff and we're trying not to think about it as a Between You and Me song. It's just like write whatever riff you can write whatever demo you can write. And if it comes to it and we finish it and we put it out, who gives a fuck anymore? Like, it's just like, it sounds like what we've written, what we like writing. So it'll normally become what we like, people like hearing from us, but we have to go through the arguments of trying to figure out who's going to fight the hardest for this song, and then we get there in the end, and we just settle on the same thing over and over again.
I didn't realize how untethered you independent bands become. Like, it really just are zero fucking rules now. Right, whenever
Quick,
you buy,
we just need to put any song out.
like.
Yeah, put any song out. We just need some kind of song out there.
Pull out with Who Fucking Cares?
A Crazy Frog remix. Definitely.
Recommend it if you like Coldplay.
Yeah.
Korn.
Yeah.
Justin asked where the album is and then had a very angry emoji face to go alongside of it. So I guess you guys are overdue.
Like a new album?
Yeah.
I think you might be waiting another year at least for a new album, but we'll have new music for sure.
They'll
like
probably be
before,
albums.
like, we don't want to jump right into a new, like an album is a big investment, especially like independent and touring so much. Like we don't know if we want to keep releasing albums or if we want to do, you know, other things like singles or
we still do want to put out the best music we can. So that's why we have so many songs that are just like in the pile, because we just don't think that they're strong enough to put out. We were talking about just getting all the demos and just fucking putting them out and giving them like 60 songs, but then they wouldn't be 60 good songs. So
I don't like it. I don't vibe with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I can be patient.
That's too much. Everyone wants content, but they don't want too much content. It's hard to please everyone, you know.
Or at the least, we're like piece it out, like 60 songs in one day would kill us.
We're gonna 100 songs one day, and then 2 months later another 100 songs, and just keep going.
It'd be crazy to watch your Spotify numbers. Like if you could just really work the algorithm in a way that you cheated the whole system.
Drop.
Can you please tell me what the fuck happened between you and Hopeless Records?
Oh, how do we summarize this?
So start from the top.
I'm gonna say they just forgot about us emotionally, and then we just drifted apart.
And it was a lot of "it's not you, it's me."
Yeah, it's a lot of "it's not you, it's me."
You've made it so poetic.
Maybe that's good song content for
like,
the next song.
Yeah, true.
Goldfish 2.0.
What can I say? I could say that when we just felt like that we weren't getting pushed like we thought we deserved, and like how our numbers had shown in the past, like we thought we were going to have a little bit more of a push, and that we brought that up, and they were like, yeah, we'll do that, and then they didn't do that, and then we were just like, well.
So for the record, did you bring it up privately first?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
didn't go straight to Twitter.
The thing that blew up on Twitter was we asked, someone tweeted us and said, how come I can't pre-order your record in the UK? So we went back to them and said, how come they can't pre-order the record in the UK? And then they said, you guys aren't big enough. And then we just said, they said we're not big enough. And then that blew up on Twitter.
That is fascinating. I didn't realize that it had like I don't want to say real world effects, because obviously it's all real world, but I didn't realize how much of the business that affected. Like, I thought it was, for me, I sort of assumed it was more of a promotional thing, right? Like
everyone did. Mates were messaging me going, "Is this real or is this
something funny?"
No, not from your end, not from your end. Like I thought your criticisms were valid, but I thought they were from like a, hey, I just don't see our name come up enough. Like, I thought that was the backbone of your argument.
No.
Do you remember we got a message saying, if you want to keep doing this as a PR thing, we'll let it happen?
That's fine.
And we're just like, it's not your idea, cunt.
But
I love that you guys wrote a marketing campaign for this record. You saved us a lot of time.
No, but that just goes, it felt like an unserious issue at that point. It felt like we were raising concerns, and then some people were just like, "Oh, this is funny. We should play into it." It's like, no, how about you just
do your job?
Well, that's a really interesting...
We parted ways amicably, didn't we?
Okay,
No
all right. Hey,
bad blood
listen. I'm not trying to get you to burn anybody here, but obviously it was a very curious.
Your names.
When that album dropped.
It was It
was funny because we were watching it, obviously, seeing how much content was going up in support of it, and we counted like maybe 2 tweets in the month, and we're just like, okay, maybe something's wrong here.
That's an interesting angle that I guess I hadn't considered at the time, that it could be a promotional, like there was a mastermind plan behind it. You and the label had partnered up, just start a shit show on Twitter. Not that that's exactly what it was, but really just get people talking. Controversy sells in a way, but it's more fascinating knowing that the label came back to you and gave an ultimatum and said, we'll run with this as a bit if you want to. Otherwise, whatever else they said, knock it off.
Well, yeah, I think when they came back and said, we'll do this as a bit, it just goes to show how not serious they were taking our concerns, because they thought we were joking, but we were pretty serious.
Like, at some point you must have had a good relationship with Hopeless, right?
Well, yeah, obviously when we started, it was great. Well, like, they got us basically to kind of where we were, like, fan wise, and like, it's not like the whole relationship was bad at all. Everything starts out great, but then they just, I don't know, it was just, I just feel like we weren't feeling a sales figure for them, and like the risk they were willing to take on us wasn't as large as how they promised us, I guess, in the start. So it just kind of faded away. And when it came to PR, which was the big thing around this record, because we really knew that it was going to be one of the best thing that we put out to date, we thought it needed the biggest push, and they said they were going to.
It's a sophomore record too. We didn't want to, fall into that, like, band dies after their second record.
Yeah.
And to have like 2 tweets leading up to it from the label supporting it, that was their promo. We're like, get fucked.
Yeah.
So then, we talk about, like, you signed to the label. It wasn't all bad initially. There's obviously like a honeymoon period. I can't imagine that the first red flag would have been either those 2 tweets or the label coming back and telling you, yeah, well, you're just not big enough to sell pre-orders.
Yeah, there's a couple little things here and there it was a straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, for sure. It was just, it's definitely a slow burn getting to that point, and then having the second record, waiting for it to be put out, and then that's when we actually could be like, hey, you can actually see that you're not doing the job that we need you to do. And yeah, they pretty much just came up and they were just like, yeah, we're kind of not going to put any effort in. Let's just split.
That's so this is going to sound strange, but are they allowed to do that? I know that sounds weird, but like, you have they must have some sort of contractual obligations to support you at some level, right?
Oh, 100% in the contract. There's like a PR clause and how much money they're going to put forward to stuff, which you sign. But every album, there's an option, and if they don't take up, they have the position to take up that option, or they don't. So they decided not to take up our third record option, which means we're out of the label.
But I mean, with that second record though, so you're saying with like the third one, they came back and they said like, hey, sounds like this isn't going to work out between us. But like with the second album,
I think they were just
like,
tired of getting bullied on Twitter.
What's that?
I think they were just tired of getting bullied on Twitter by our fans.
They thought we masterminded it all, but it was just like our fans fucking running with it. We were just giving them the honest truth. But it was like, yeah, we're not big enough. They said we're not big enough, and then they started the fuck hopeless hashtag, and it was fucking on. And then they came to us when we were like left. They gave us like the contract to sign out of the deal, They were like, can you please stop like bad mouthing us on Twitter and stuff? I'm like, we didn't do shit. We didn't say anything. We just said the truth.
Was it good for you at all? Like, did you feel like you did get like a level of like maybe interest in the album that wouldn't have been there otherwise, even though you had to manufacture it?
We became that band. It's like, oh, you're that band that was talking shit on Twitter.
We toured with Heart Attack Man.
You guys were the bad boys of Hopeless Records for a hot minute.
We toured with Heart Attack Man in the UK, and Eric came up to me. He's like, I didn't hear about your band until you guys started blasting Hopeless on Twitter.
So in that sense, I guess it does work. And then did any other label reach out after you guys went independent? Like was there an interest there?
Oh, baby, we're a hot commodity right now.
We've obviously talked about
People
it.
are chasing this ass for sure.
We've talked about it, but also we kind of just excited about releasing something independent and seeing how it goes. There's no reason for us to jump back into another long-term deal, especially if we were like unhappy with the last one. So
I think, and some labels that we have talked to were like, you'd be crazy not to try being independent, which is something that we didn't think we'd hear from a label saying you should try doing it, because most labels at the time that we've spoken to them are just like, we want to see your band do well after everything that's happened. So just why don't you just try doing it? So having that, thinking that like people that want to sign us think that we could do well by ourselves is like giving us a little bit of confidence as well.
It's refreshing to hear, instead of them just going, come sign with us, we're way better than the other labels.
Yeah, it must be fucking nice when people are actually being honest with you.
Yeah.
Did you get a peek at like some contract offers, in the sense that like, did you flip to page 5 and see like the amount
we did,
of
and they were all better than the
offering?
ones that we were on.
You don't get that until you're deep in discussion, unfortunately. I mean, they all know. Every meeting we've had, they all ask, and they all know that we've fucking destroyed a record label on Twitter before, so they don't want that to happen again.
Well, what's scary about being independent?
Everything's your money, and if you don't have the money, you can't do shit.
But I feel like a lot of people tell me, hey, it's also the scariest part of being a part of a label is that you get like a certain level of debt accrued, where this seems different in that way that like I mean, I guess are you just taking on debt in a different way now?
It's just, it's a lot more freedom. We can do really whatever we want.
But that's not scary. That's great, right?
No. Yeah.
I think we're very lucky at the moment, because we basically funnel all the money that we make back into the band. So we don't pay for anything extra, but we're not really making any money off it. So like the writing weekends and putting stuff out, we have that money banked and we budget accordingly, because Jai is like the business guy in the band and he makes sure we're never in the red. So I need to shout out Jai for sure, because he lets us party and like make sure that we can survive every day of the year.
So yeah, he sounds like a great fall guy.
Yeah. I love guy in charge of the party budget. That's who I would want to be in the band.
It's not fun. It's not fun when he doesn't want to party and you really, really, really want to party.
Right. Like he's got to put on the fucking manager pants sometimes. I understand.
Yeah.
So as far as budgeting goes now, because you guys are, in charge of your own funds, so to speak, how much of that consciously do you put forth into promotion? Is that something that you guys take to heart?
Because this is the first time we're going to be, independently releasing a song and in charge of all of the.
It's the second time we're paying for PR though, because we paid for PR on the last record. So just saying that, just need to put that out there. Little dig back. But
is that normal? Out of curiosity, like is that like something a lot of other bands might do, or is that like a weird anomaly?
Well, it just depends on how much work you want to put in by yourself. Like doing PR is a lot of emailing, a lot of time, a lot of trying to network with people, a lot of trying to reach out to get playlisting and radio play and finding those people. And I think during the Armageddon cycle, we made a good team that we worked with in Australia and overseas, that we're going back to them and bringing on some new people to push that out, because we are working full time while we're home, so we don't really have the time to do that. So we found those people when we were working on the Armageddon record, and now we're just pushing forward with it again. Do you
push forward like cautiously now? Like we'll give you like half up front. We had a whole thing with a record label.
100%. You never pay for the service until you got what you needed in full. But they also need money. They also need.
Do you mean outside of the band?
Yeah.
Was that the case before when you were still signed to?
All the time.
There's no money in music, boys.
All the time.
I know. I mean, listen. I've heard.
Yeah, when we're home
I
from
guess
tour, we're all back to full-time jobs at home.
Is that probably another explanation as to why an album wouldn't come this year? It's just like it's a time management thing.
I don't know, like I think because we're also like playing with what the stuff is that we want to write and do next, and we also have to account for how much touring that we're planning on doing, and finances and stuff. Like if just a record at this time doesn't seem like the right fit, to be honest.
I just don't think we have time, but to make it right, like Armageddon was, and with the amount of touring that we're trying to do this year, we don't have the time really to smash out a whole record.
Is it hard to find jobs that sort of allow you to take that massive amount of time off to go tour?
I've been lucky. I have not had much trouble. They've been pretty understanding when I take the job. But
the job I just got, I just told them in the interview, I'm like, I'm going to take 6 months off each year, but sporadically. If you want me, I'll still work for you. And they're like, yeah, we don't care. I was like, okay. Next day I gave them like 3 months.
I guess it speaks to your resume that you could make that kind of demand and still get away with it. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they had no idea who I was, so it was great.
Do you know who I am?
Clearly they're not on Twitter.
Do you know who the fuck I am?
So in the new track, Nevermind, you guys sing about the California kind of vibe, and I'm kind of curious if you could define these kind of vibes to me. What's the Perth kind of vibe?
The Perth kind of vibe.
I would say, have you watched the OC?
Yeah.
Like Newport Beach. That's basically, it's like rich, but also like laid back stoners at the same time.
This is the most relatable Australia's ever felt. What's the Brisbane kind of vibe?
Brisbane kind of vibe.
It's middle class rum drinkers that like to play sport and get stoned.
And out of curiosity, where are you like this very second?
We're in
Geelong.
Ocean
Victoria.
Grove, like the peninsula of Victoria.
And what the fuck is the vibe there?
Drunk stoners.
Just look at our attire. Look at our attire right now.
Vibe. There's a lot of like people walking their dogs every day, fitness people, and then there's just us in the middle of this suburban area writing songs.
It sounds kind of
when
nice.
you look around the houses around this area, it looks like everybody's second house.
Yeah,
their holiday house.
Everyone's here on their holiday house, and we're renting someone's holiday house.
So were you there with like a producer, or did you guys like rent out a space for like? Yeah.
Yeah, we got Sam who did Armageddon.
The goal is to come away with finished a lot of finished songs.
How much time do you have?
3 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Total. Is that reasonable? Or is there like pressure there?
We'll find out.
All right, finally, what is the I've never heard of this place in my life, the Hobart kind of vibe?
I've never been there.
Hobart's kind of like, it's like hilly and cold.
Australia cold?
Hobart's like the closest part of Australia to Antarctica. Gibbo says Colorado vibe without the weed. Without the legal weed, sorry.
Wait, is weed not legal in Australia?
I think it's just become medicinal.
Oh, wow.
He's keeping up with the. He's keeping.
You can't have 2 plants in Canberra. That's about it.
Is that holding you guys back? Would you say, or
I guarantee it is.
Yeah, we do nothing illegal ever.
On June 17th, 2022, the official Between You and Me account tweeted, "MGK is the savior of pop punk." Can you elaborate?
Oh my god.
It's the best one because Gibbo, the band dad, he controls the Twitter sometimes, and sometimes he goes on. He just likes to stir the pot, and then we'll see the tweet pop up and just piss ourselves laughing. And then it's like we just throw in like, have you ever been to like fed a goldfish and you just put a bunch of food in and they all just go to the top and they just start feasting on it? That's exactly what Gibbo does with tweets. He just like puts some ridiculous shit out, and then people will just cause chaos on the internet and we walk away.
What a phenomenal way of washing your own personal hands from this. So no MGK influence on the new album?
Well, we don't have a new album, so I can say yes, no MGK influence on the new album.
Okay.
No, MGK will be on the new work.
Yeah, we're getting the feature.
We're holding you to it.
He needs to save it.
That would be the feature with the most streams, by the way. So if you're still
100%.
looking,
Yeah, but it's probably going to cost us like $300,000 for a 10-second feature.
Worth it though, so worth it.
Yeah. At least it's just out there.
At one point, you guys also tweeted that you were working on a documentary, and the only Australian documentary I've seen is Wolf Creek. Is it going to be anything like that?
Oh my God.
Wolf Creek, is that a doco?
It is because it would actually happen, but like technically. Sorry, what was the question? We have a doco? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, you guys were like, somebody asked like, hey, a video, and you guys like, we're making a documentary. And now I don't know what level of fuck around this is, or if you're being serious.
Well, no, we do. For Armageddon, we recorded everything, and like the lead up from like COVID to putting the record out basically, and we have a documentary that we've been wanting to release for a long time, but we just got very lazy with editing it. But it should be coming out pretty soon. Do we have a day? No day, maybe tomorrow. Maybe we'll just drop it in the next week.
What a timepiece. So you said COVID specifically, obviously, because that's when you recorded?
Well, but basically once we got the idea of Armageddon, like the end of the world thing, and then COVID started happening, we were like, well, fuck, the world is ending. Let's fucking just go nuts with this documentary. Because
convenient for you guys.
Yeah.
You guys have like an end credits now where it's just going to be like something unfolding between you and Hopeless Records?
How did you pick the whole documentary already?
You picked the narrative.
Or is that a part two?
It actually ends in the cage match with us fighting all of the Hopeless staff.
Actually, I had a fun question. What was your favorite memory from your time at Hopeless Records?
Wow. The day that our first song got released.
Yeah.
All downhill from there.
That was pretty cool.
The first and last tweet on the label's accounts.
No, I remember the day that we released Overthinking, and I thought that was a pretty fun day. So guys, our first song on a label, and now then not long after, we're like, why are we on a fucking label?
Are you? It sounded like you guys were still open to it, but if a younger band came to you and said, "Hey, should we sign to a label?" What would you tell them?
No,
I would say no.
Yeah?
I would say look at the deal, because when we looked at our deal, we were nothing. We really had no pull at all. So
but that's most young bands, right?
Exactly. It wasn't really in our favor, but just I don't know. Make sure you can get what you can out of it. Like, if don't just sign it straight away. Make sure you get we got Hopeless to pay for the lawyer, because if they really wanted us, they would. So like we try to use that lawyer to get what we could out of it, what we could change in our favor, but just be conscious of what you're actually doing. And if they're not keeping up their end of the deal, you can fucking leave. And that's what we did. It's like, it's a contract. If they don't hold up their contractual obligation, then they're breaking contract.
I would just say, if someone asked me, I'd say don't. Don't at all. Just find any other way. Just release music on TikTok.
I mean, I feel like there's so many success stories out there at this point that it's like, on paper, there's no reason why that can't work. It might be harder for different reasons, but
there's always there's always pros and cons. Like,
they are kind of dead though. Like the ideology of a label, what they can do for you, because you can do it all yourself basically now, as long as you put in the work.
Very true. Definitely. And like, there's so many examples of that working out. You guys don't know how hard it was for me not to like write 20 questions about Australia.
Go. 5 rapid fire. Go.
Well, listen. Here was like, I recently tweeted out that I thought personally Northland was the best thing to ever come from Australia, period. But like, in your opinion, what is actually the best thing to come from Australia?
AC/DC.
Like the best thing in general.
You're gonna ride that hard for AC/DC?
No, let me think.
I'll take in general.
The best thing ever in general. We'll go
in general.
The best thing
to be from
Margot Robbie.
Wait, what?
Margot Robbie.
Oh, I didn't know Margot. That's the strongest argument I've heard so far, to be fair.
Alf Stewart. Just the whole cast of Neighbours. We adore them.
More
from that,
questions.
I'd say Vegemite or Promite. You guys know
is Vegemite an acquired taste? Because I feel like just the sound of it sounds horrendous.
You gotta have just a little bit with mostly butter.
I feel like if you love salt, you will love Vegemite.
I do love salt, to be fair. I
never had the beer Old Blue last. It's pretty similar.
Well, I'll bring some on the next tour, and we can have a piece of Vegemite toast together.
I think this is a great idea, because this dream will become a reality in like a month. So this is great for me.
Let's go.
I'll
make sure I have a jar.
Aussie related question. I feel like touring Australia is a landmark moment in a lot of bands' careers from other territories, North America, Europe, and a cornerstone of finally going to that continent is getting a photo with a fucking koala bear.
Yeah, every band goes to the wildlife zoo, hey?
So I have two questions.
Chlamydia koalas.
Do Australian bands ever bother to get the koala picture?
I've never been. I've never seen a koala.
Crazy what you take for granted.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. Margot Robbie, koala bears.
If we were to take like a friend's band there, we would get one, but we wouldn't go there.
I'm sure we do stuff like that when we go to the States and we're like, oh, Buc-ee's.
So
that was your next question.
That was the follow-up question. I don't think last year was your first time in the States, but what are some of the landmark things that you went and did? Like you visited a Buc-ee's. What else?
Talk about.
What do you miss? What are you going to do when you come back?
I really loved going to the beach when we had a day off in San Diego.
San Diego is our favorite place in the world.
But I don't think that's a.
I'm gonna get Mike's Tacos and go to the Drum Circle on Ocean Beach in San Diego.
California vibes go crazy in San Diego.
We still haven't been to like Las Vegas or the Grand Canyon or anything like that. That's something I do want to go to.
Yeah, true. More places we can lose money.
Yeah. We always end up spending money on just like finding somewhere to have a beer. That's cool.
Yeah, we are good about that. There are a lot of places to lose money and have a beer. But I feel like you guys are at what I would assume is a better beach than the ones that I have. And I don't know why, but my idealized like vision of Australia is gorgeous. Like what makes a San Diego beach so special?
It felt like
the vibe
home.
Of the city.
I don't know, like people were out like it felt like Bondi or something. Bondi Beach in Sydney. It just felt like everyone was like at the beach there to have a good time.
I also just think that we got hit at the right point of a tour. Like we were all kind of, it was like almost halfway in the tour. We were all pretty tired, and we had a full day off in San Diego. Met up with one of our friends. Just went out, like rode scooters all day, like ate tacos all day, like it just like chilled by the beach. It was just like one of the best days. So I think that's why it molded into like our favorite place.
But we realistically could have recreated that day anywhere. Could have been in St. Louis.
To be fair, you've done a good job selling it to me. Well, it sounds nice.
You guys ever heard of beaches?
Are you guys less like skater gang and more scooter gang then?
Oh, whatever's cheaper, gang.
Scooters are on the side of the road, and they're electric. So
we're suckers for Lime scooters. We rode that night. We rode them for like an hour and a half, and it was a big bill.
What did you do with them when you were finished? Did you like properly put them back at their little charging stations, or did you like throw them in the ocean?
In San Diego, they have designated parking spots, so you have to park them in the exact spot they won't end.
Interesting. I thought there was like a huge issue there where people were just leaving them everywhere. Am I crazy?
But it's just everywhere. I think there's like in Melbourne, people or like Brisbane, people were throwing them off the bridge.
It's always ending up in trees. Like when they had the bikes before the scooters, they had like the city bikes. They'd always end up in a tree.
Two final questions. First question: do you guys feel like you still have the same perspective on life that you had with Armageddon, or do you think it, after experiencing what was in some ways, you know, this real sort of end of the world experience, like do you feel like Armageddon would be different now if you were to release it, or it would be the same album if you were to like write it again in 2023?
I'm sure it would be slightly different.
Yeah.
Don't know. I couldn't tell you where, but
Armageddon kind of, if we were to write it now, it would have possibly gone through 3 different iterations from exactly when we were supposed to record it to when we actually did record it to trying to re-record it again. Now it'd be 3 completely different records.
A lot of those songs on there were like written years before the record, or like a couple years before. And then they kind of all came together for that project. And I guess that's why we didn't also want to do another record straight away, because we spent so long on the one before, and we put, you know, like there was like a theme to it. Not that there was intent, like we didn't intend for there to be a theme, but like it kind of was like a concept album. And we didn't want to just like put 10 songs together that kind of just meant whatever for the next one and just pump it out. So I guess
do you still feel like you have those same views though? Like, do you still feel like you have the same outlook on like generally the climate, or like people's interactions with social media? Like do you still look at all these things with sort of like the same level of like disdain or like disappointment?
I think because I released songs talking about it, it kind of gets it out of your mind a little bit. But whereas if I didn't, I'd keep having the idea or like
they're
that,
festering.
the topics in my head, and they'd keep coming up. But like,
I think the ideas are still there. It's just that we've talked about them, so it's like what we think, and now we're just like a little bit more carefree and trying not to stress it as much about anything else, and trying to just like write fun songs that we enjoy listening to.
Good. I think for what it's worth, Nevermind is the pitch perfect example of that.
It also sounds like the vibes are immaculate at this beach house that you've got.
It is. After this, I'm going to go for a skinny dip in the ocean.
Well, listen, I don't want to hold you back from that. So before we let you go, what's the state of the scene real quick?
What's the state of the scene?
Yeah.
The state of like right now?
Big picture. What's the state of the scene?
Okay, state of the scene is TikTok. TikTok is where it's at.
Wait. Hold. How much is that infiltrated everything about you guys? Like, is it influenced your songwriting? Is it your approach?
Not the songwriting. It's just like the promo ideas. We have to think. So, like we're just like now we actually have to think about what we're going to put online, and when we get thinking about it, we just stop caring about how much effort we want to put in. So we just put up absolute trash, and that's basically where we're at. We look at other people doing like amazing TikToks, and we're like, we should do like a rip off of that, and then we never do, and then we just put up me flipping a bottle for like 30 seconds.
It's tricky. I think that TikTok is a big part of the scene at the moment, but it's also so soul sucking. And if you put time into it to doing a video and it doesn't go well, then you kind of feel a bit like, why did I do that? I could have written a song instead of trying to make a TikTok.
Like you're either a TikTok like trying to move the needle on TikTok, or you're just like an underground hardcore band that's about to explode like onto the scene.
I think
I feel like hardcore always does it not the easy way, the right way. It's like people just play shows and they just fucking are really good. They put on really good live shows.
There has to be hardcore bands on TikTok.
Hey, I'm cool too on TikTok. Hey, me too.
You just start begging your crowd to open a mosh pit during your set, and I feel like you guys will have some ethereal.
Oh, we do.
That's perfect. So you're ahead of the game.
We're molding the two,
This is going to sound ridiculous, but is there any different perspective on TikTok in Australia, or is this pretty much just the same view across the world about this app being like fully consuming of everyone who engages with it? Like do all the bands fucking care about TikTok in Australia the same way they would here, and vice versa?
I mean, like my TikTok is in bands. I get like WWE and NBA. And then cooking videos. I spend hours on it still. I don't get the e-boys and e-bands.
I don't know. Like Australia is definitely, I feel like, in the same lane as America, just not as over the top. There's a lot of like gym content. Like a lot of bands aren't really good at making content in Australia, like us included. We're with, like, I see all American bands like high quality shot, fucking perfect crisp videos, like great funny content. I'm just like,
I think it's just more of a thing overseas. Like it's more hammered down. Like you should take some serious time to, do TikTok.
Like it's a sign.
I think that can also benefit you though, because I feel like for fans that you have overseas where you are, I feel like that almost endears you to them more.
No, fully. I think it's a very useful tool, but you also just can't tell what is going to be good and what's not. So you kind of just throwing stuff out there and just waiting for one to pop off.
I think a video form of
it's like
songwriting. Savior of pop punk would be a fucking absolute home run for you guys.
I made this TikTok for our account of us going through the McDonald's drive-through, trying to walk through, and it's our highest viewed video of like nearly 500,000 views.
That's how it always
works.
And
it's the dumbest. It's like a 2-minute long video of us just trying to get through the drive-through, and it has nothing to do with our band.
But there's also there's no, if people see that, they have no idea that we released music, so it's just pointless. Just views that go nowhere.
It has up 1 million views.
Trust me, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, 100%. It feels completely worthless. That to me seems like a negative. Any pros, state of the scene wise?
Oh, for sure. Look, TikTok has its pros,
and bands are killing it.
What's a
Australian bands especially? There's a lot of good Australian bands coming up that I really love. So Seen he is healthy.
Trying to think of something else that's like not TikTok, like what's the new thing? Or is it just TikTok?
No amps.
No amps.
No amps.
No labels, no amps.
Podcast.
That's our new slogan. No label, no amps, just drums.
Just
hey,
rock.
listen, we really appreciate
just
you guys.
rocks.
We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you
Having
guys
us on,
coming
boys.
on.
Thank you for having us.
Sorry we just
that
talked
we're a
shit
bit
for
disheveled.
ages.
Yeah.
Enjoy skinny dipping. I am forever jealous of you.
Thank you. I'll upload a photo on my story just so.
I appreciate it.
Everyone
It
can
could
see.
be a TikTok video. Think about it.
Thank you guys.
Have a good night, guys.
See you later, guys.
Take
Bye.
it easy.
See you soon.